Morning, mate.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Two Crazy Guys, One Crazy Crypto World podcast. The podcast brought to you by your two crazy guys, Stacey and Chris. One a baby boomer and one a Gen X. Different generations, yet both crazy enough to wish to bring you the daily crazy crypto update, as well as all the market news of the day. So, as you may notice today, Mr. Bosel over here is sort of fading in and out. You might see him, you might not see him. Kind of like when you ghost moments.
What's going on?
You always get to see me because, hang on, I haven't got my background on. So, anyway, look at the pickies on the wall.
We're doing well. We're doing well.
We are doing extremely well today, my friend. How are you? Apart from the fact you're sort of fading in and out a lot.
Yeah, try. I'm just not existing. I'm just, I could stop. I could stop my video and you can just look at a picture of me. I could do that.
We can do that, but that's just disturbing.
That's me trying to look professional.
You know what it is, ladies and gents? It's actually, I was in a t-shirt earlier, just a t-shirt, and I was like sitting here going, yeah, maybe Stacey's up there in Queensland, in sunny Queensland, in a tracky top. But we decided I was actually cold, so I put on a tracky top.
Yes, we did decide that.
Yeah, and I discovered why I was cold when I checked the temperature, and it said it was -3. I was like, hey, I really shouldn't be wearing a t-shirt.
And there I was worried about us being down to, what did I say we were, 5 or something?
Yeah,
5 degrees.
5. You're just freezing, dude.
But it did feel like 3 or something. I mean, it was really quite chilly. So
Hey, wave your hands for a second, Stats. There you go. Wave your hands.
Yeah, I am.
No,
Trust me.
And he does flash, ladies and gentlemen. It's not that sort of flash. This is the Stacey flash.
You can't see me flipping you the bird.
Well, mate, I'd never do that to you.
I don't know what's going on with that video today. Anyway, doesn't matter. You're not.
It's going to be one of those days, ladies and gents.
No one's here to see me.
We get technologically challenged every now and then, and today is one of those days where we're going to be technologically challenged.
Yeah.
Right, we've only got a pretty short amount of time today, everyone, because of the fact that I have to do some serious running around this morning, starting at just after 7:30. So let's get into it, Mr. Bosel.
All right,
let's bring. They can see.
Share the old screen.
Look at this, ladies and gents. We still have a 10 at the beginning of the Bitcoin price.
Go figure. Go figure. It's it's sort of holding its price. It's Look, I'm really surprised. There was definitely some resistance sitting between the 10.3 and 10.5 mark. But overnight, she shot above that and is settling down a little bit now, but still up another 3.3% from yesterday. So two good days of gains, which is always nice to see. We're always happier when we see green, aren't we?
We are definitely happy when we see green. Definitely.
And we've definitely added some money to the market. So we're up another 4.6%. So market cap's now $272 billion.
If you remember, yesterday we were down at 257 or something. So there's been quite a few $1 billion put back into the market.
There is indeed.
Backed into the market.
Backed into the market. Yes, very well done. We'll get to that. So the top 10. Let's have a look. So we talked Bitcoin, Ethereum's at 180. Hasn't really done much. Up 0.9%. XRP also hasn't done much. At 26 cents, up 0.2. Bitcoin Cash is up 3.4% to 302. It's jumped over the 300 mark. Litecoin sitting at 69.21, up 2.8%. And we'll jump over to Tether.
They made a gain in Litecoin, first time in a while.
No, they had a good run yesterday. Yeah. Binance Coin was 22.55, and that's just down 0.2. EOS at $3.40, up 1.7. Bitcoin SV 135, going absolutely nowhere. And Cardano at 4.7 cents, up 2.8%. So
there's Monero back above Stellar, still trying to
holding Stellar out. Yes.
Stellar, you can can do it. Stellar.
So
you'll notice, ladies and gents, 5,589 coins.
Yes, we've added
5,155 a week ago.
That's right. So we've added another 34 coins in a matter of a week. So that's the rate at which this industry is growing.
That's right. Some of them will survive, some of them won't.
I dare say I'll put my neck out and say 98% of them won't survive.
Oh, I don't know. I reckon you'll find 98% will still be there. They just won't be getting traded as much.
Well, yeah, I suppose determined survive, right? I mean,
Yeah. They haven't been taken away, thrown in the bin.
yeah.
A virtual.
Well, even I was just checking my maths. For 98% to not survive, that will still give us 111 projects.
That's not bad.
That are doing well.
Yeah.
So yes. All right.
What's Bitcoin
We'll
chart?
have a quick look at Bitcoin. So overnight, as we can see,
look at that green staircase.
Yes, look at that. Very, very lovely rise. This is the week. This is over the last week. So it's so in the last couple of days we've had very good, very nice gains, hitting a top of, what did we hit? The high there was about 10.7. So it's and then just settled back down.
717's a Boeing airliner.
Trust you, Mr. Plane. But quite interestingly, they've got this "How do you feel about Bitcoin today?" And people can vote with a thumb up or a thumb down, right? And it was only a week ago. This was down. I think it was down just above 50% or something. So it has definitely the sentiment around Bitcoin has definitely increased. It's now up to 87%. And that probably follows in line with the Bitcoin dominance, which is now above 70%.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive considering it dropped below 67 temporarily about a week ago.
So yeah, it's money's definitely coming back into it, and there's some good reasons for that, and there are some good reasons, and I think we'll start going into that. So one of the first ones that we found was this one: 3 reasons why Bitcoin prices surged $700 in the week. And so the 3, and who was this by? Anatole and Nopaji. I don't know. I mucked that one up big time. Binance and Bitfinex announced Bitcoin derivatives. So as the industry is progressing and maturing, we are getting more financially sort of related products that are coming out. Right, so some of the bigger players are used to certain products and trading products that they use, and derivatives is certainly one of those. Now, while I'm not a big fan of derivatives, and purely because of what it's done to the standard financial system, there is a place for them, and as long as they're controlled, then it's not too bad.
Yeah.
But it does announce the fact that these products are coming out. It is announcing the maturity of the industry, and it is providing those other trading platforms for the bigger players, and that is going to bring in more money into the industry. This one I thought was interesting. Whales shakeout completed. So they've said, well, basically, besides Binance and Bitfinex and the Bakkt, it's gradually launching Bitcoin futures. It is, but we'll say that word a few times.
Because it really is back to the future.
It really is. It really is. No, and I liked your title too, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Back to the moon. I thought that was very clever. Well done, you. But anyway, so consequently, the Bitcoin price has been driven up this time by some of the whales who have decided to reverse their stance. While it's true that Bakkt doesn't approve crypto deposits yet, the whales are forced to stop acting as bears as the community is positive about Binance and Bitfinex. So they're sort of saying the ones with the money are now starting to buy back in, and because there's positive things afoot, shall we say.
Yeah.
The other one which is interesting is that Tether is printing another batch of USDT, so the old stable coin, and there's a tweet there from Whale Alert where they've said 7 million USDT has been transferred from Tether Treasury to an unknown wallet, and it generally means that, and just this is going purely on history, that when a batch of Tether has been printed, for some reason the Bitcoin price seems to run high. So they're sort of linking that to this as well. So what do they know is coming? Don't know. But it's quite interesting that they have seemed to have the printing of Tether seems to have been a precursor for Bitcoin price going up.
Well, it sort of indicates they want more tether available so people can put it in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or it becomes volatile again. So,
Yeah.
and it matches the overall increase in the market as well.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
so many more billion going in there that they want people to have an option to put it back into a stable coin if they want, rather than removing it from the market.
Absolutely. So now into the real news, and this is what certainly from what I've been reading the last 2 days, this seems to be the real reason around the price running up. And that is around news around the first Bitcoin ETF. So after years of rejection, the SEC is allowing a pair of firms to launch the first Bitcoin ETF. Right? And 2 firms are preparing to market a Bitcoin ETF, but with a critical stipulation. The product will only be eligible for purchase by brokers, banks, hedge funds, and other qualified institutional buyers. So it's out of the reach for the average you and I for the moment, but that's okay. That's okay. It's a start.
Good move, mate. It's a good move because
Absolutely.
As with probably the next story we're going to show, the institutional part there is the really important bit. Stacey, you're back.
Oh, I am
Goodness
too.
gracious, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Stacey basically is no longer a ghost. He is here with us now, live from Stacey Bozol.
Yeah. Don't know why. That's just weird. I didn't do anything. That's
the little electrons up there in Queensland feeling the cold.
Maybe it was. That's right. They're just freezing a little bit, and they're going, all right, we've warmed up enough now. We can transfer those pixels. Crazy. So the shares of the VanEck SolidX Bitcoin ETF. That's a mouthful for this time of the morning. It's going to be sold under the SEC's Rule 144A, which is traditionally used to issue junk debt to qualified investors, allowing them to make a market. So again, more of these derivative products, but anyway, it's what's bringing institutional grade investors into the space, which is really good news, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, and there was more news around it.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the real one. Now, you might have been logged into our podcast. You see, we've sort of taken a little snippet out of Friends, and this we always have. This is the one where. Well, this is the one where we are going back to the moon. As you can see, Bakkt is launching its futures exchange and commences on September 23. However, from the 6th of September, in just 2 short days, or actually 1 short day here in Australia, 2 short days in America, users will be able to store their Bitcoin holdings in Bakkt, so in the Bakkt warehouse. So therefore, it's actually commencing. And the reason I mentioned the institutional investors before is this is institutional investors. This is targeted people working the futures exchange, the institutions. And the more institutions we can get in there, the more credibility and the more the crypto world grows.
Yeah.
And that is a really good thing.
Absolutely. But more importantly, the real reason why this product is really important to the industry is because, look, we've already got futures products, right?
Yeah.
But the futures products that are in existence now are not settled in Bitcoin. They're settled in normal fiat currency, right? So there's no demand, there's no need to purchase Bitcoin, right? They're just betting on the price. That's all they're doing, right? Whereas this one, the Bakkt futures will actually be physically settled in Bitcoin.
Yep.
And that's the key difference with this one. So in order for this product to exist and for people to invest in it, they will have to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. So this is a regulatory compliant platform for traders.
Yes.
i.e., Bakkt has now received full regulatory approval. They've got all the security, all the infrastructure, everything is in place now to make this a legitimate regulated futures exchange.
Yeah.
So all the institutional investors, they will have just as much opportunity to stick their money in here as any other futures exchange. However, when they're talking their money, it's actually Bitcoin. They're not giving over US dollars, which can get torn and burnt and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So the final sentence basically in this article says the bottom line is that the announcement of Bitcoin futures was bullish for Bitcoin. It's therefore a no-brainer that the price of Bitcoin will soar once official trading on Bakkt kicks off maybe even hitting an all-time high, a new all-time high.
Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, that is why today we are going back to the future.
Absolutely.
Actually, back to the moon. Back to the moon.
Back to the moon. Back to the moon. So, yeah, and there's just another article here that again announcing the launch of the ETFs as well. So not only do we have the Bakkt futures product coming online, we also have the ETF products that we mentioned earlier. So we've got effectively 3 new products coming online that's going to all help institutional grade investors come into the space.
And all with full regulatory approval by the SEC and the other bodies that have to give that stuff. So it's happening.
So they believe.
Yeah.
We really don't need them, but anyway, it's the world in which we live.
Well, that's right. But it just goes to show there's more and more of these organizations who are now coming to terms with the fact that cryptocurrency is not going away.
No, definitely not. Most definitely. And certainly not Bitcoin, not at 70% dominance. Right. And speaking of which, Bitcoin dominance surges above 70%, as we said this morning, as trade tensions mount. So it's again, another reason why people are moving to Bitcoin. But interesting, this one talks about whether or not this spells doom for ETH and XRP.
Yeah.
Which
wouldn't mind though if XRP disappeared. We all know that.
Well, and here's my thing, right? My thing about XRP is it's there to support the banks. Well, quite frankly, I don't give a shit about the banks.
That's something. Wow, really?
I know. That's a news flash. That's a news flash.
Anyone who's listened to the previous 56 episodes couldn't have possibly gathered any inclination that you don't care about the banks.
Yeah, no love lost between me and the banks.
Is that why they have your picture on dartboard?
I'm sure they do, right? I'm sure they do. I feel sorry for some of the people that work in the banks. And,
ladies and gentlemen, Stacey doesn't like banks. You can write that down.
And look, one of my best mates has worked in the bank his entire life. As much as I've been trying to get him out of it.
As much as I hate, and I don't particularly like the banks either, I think that they just work out ways to keep more of your money.
Yeah,
it's one of those things. As much as we don't like them, we've all used them ever since we were like knee-high to a grasshopper.
We have to. The system has been built.
There was no alternative.
There was no alternative. Now we've got an alternative, and that's the key difference, right? So, absolutely. So anyway, but they're saying BTC becomes more attractive as US and China steps up their trade rivalry, and as we've talked about in previous episodes. It sort of looks like there's going to be a bit of a race to the bottom in terms of currencies. So China's way of dealing with the trade tariffs is to just drop the value of the yuan, and then other countries have sort of had to follow in suit in order to be competitive, and this is what's going to happen. And so if you want to keep your money somewhere that is not going to keep losing value, well, you need to get it out of standard fiat currency because they're all going to go down.
And then of course, you've got Mr. Schiff in that little grayed out paragraph that you've just gone totally over.
Oh, yeah. I'll try to ignore him. But
Mr. Schiff offers the alternate view, as he always does.
As he does, yes.
Basically saying Bitcoin is trading back above 10K, but don't believe the hype that this reflects safe haven buying similar to gold. Bitcoin is not being bought by investors searching a safe haven, but by speculators betting that they are.
He keeps going on and on about how that Bitcoin is just for speculators, but it's like anybody really who's buying shares is speculating. I mean, he says it's like it's a bad thing, but just speculating is just really you're just investing in something that you sort of hope is going to go up, but that's no different to buying any share, really.
And the guy who bought that $25 worth of Bitcoin back in the day,
actually,
he probably really regrets speculating on that, eh?
Look, I'm just curious. If we look at what the
we're going to DuckDuckGo, ladies and gentlemen, and we have exactly 3 minutes left to go, Mr. Bosun. Just letting you know.
Speculation, reasoning based on inconclusive evidence, conjecture or supposition, a conclusion, opinion or theory reached on conjecture. Right. So Yeah, I suppose. Okay, when you look at it like that, I suppose. But
He's going to say Mr. Schiff's right.
well, no. I understand his perspective, right? I was going to say the definition of speculation probably doesn't support my view, but I can understand his definition of that, right?
Here's an alternate one.
I don't believe it, right? Because I've spent the last 2 years researching cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, right? Now, there's no way that after 2 years of research, I'm going to stand here and say that my investment in Bitcoin or other is purely based on conjecture or without evidence, right?
That's what I was about to say. Isn't anyone who's putting money into gold, right? Let's say, okay, you're buying a physical chunk of something, right? That's the difference here. One's a physical chunk, one's a theoretical chunk.
Digital.
Yeah, digital chunk. However, you're buying that gold on the basis that you think its value is going to go up. You're not buying it on the basis that it's going down. Are you speculating? You're speculating on the price.
Not really with gold. I mean, gold's got 5,000 years of history, right? So there is an intrinsic value to gold. Well, it does. But
it had to start somewhere.
Yeah, look, I mean, gold. The difference with gold and silver is that it's a commodity, right? So it does have a value outside of, say, a monetary definition because of its properties as a precious metal. So, I wouldn't necessarily say.
I understand that, but I'm still talking about people who are sticking their money in there as an investment.
Yeah, look, I mean,
it's still speculation.
Yeah, it is to a degree. Yeah.
Yep.
So. But no more different to what we're doing with cryptos, because we believe in the future.
Digital is just a new world. Yeah. It's the digital world that we live in. It's the digital age that we live in.
Yep.
So people who are working in the commoditized, if that's a word, age, like Peter Schiff, they're always going to struggle with this new technology, with this new thing. It's only digital. Well, yeah, it is.
No, let's face it.
Guess what? We're in the digital world.
Yeah, we are, absolutely. And look, the fact is, Schiff is also a massive gold bug. His business is on selling gold. So he's naturally going to support his position. Fair enough.
Right.
But back to this article, it was around the altcoins potentially. They're saying the altcoin bubble may have popped, and analysts and traders alike have sort of been clamoring for the annihilation of altcoins for a very long time. And look, I think this is just a bit of a I don't know, sensationalistic sort of view, but in line with what I was saying before, 98% of the current cryptos probably won't survive, and that's just natural attrition that happens with startups. I mean, 98% of startups don't last. They just don't last. So that's it's got nothing to do with cryptocurrencies or altcoins. That's just what happens, right? And so that's sort of all I was saying from my perspective. But I think that they're just making a bit sensational, because there will be altcoins that are going to do very well, because they've got a real use case.
And none of them have ever hit the height of Bitcoin, and they won't. Not in the short term. That's the bottom line of it. But it doesn't mean that people shouldn't invest in them if they believe in the project.
Look, he's going to know in 2 to 5 years' time. Like the next 12 months, I doubt it, right? Absolutely. There might be 1 or 2 that take off. But in the next 2 to 5 years, I think there's a very good chance that a number of them will take off, because they have real use cases that are solving real-world problems. And it's just a matter of them.
And that's right. And Bitcoin is limited to the 21 million coins. Some of these Litecoins out there are 21 billion coins. And they want them to be able to trade it a little bit easier, a little bit faster than the Bitcoin network, which is what's happening. So that's what it's all about
well. Like I said, different use cases, right? So and there won't just be one. There doesn't have to be just one. And that's
just one computer manufacturer.
No, correct. Right. There's no one piece of software. It's a silly argument, I think, to be honest.
I don't disagree. Altcoins will never be at the level of Bitcoin, I don't think, but there will be highly successful altcoins. All right, mate, we're going to wrap.
Cool. Very quickly, Huobi's announcing their blockchain phone. So it'd be interesting to see how that. Basically, all that's happening with the blockchain phone is it's got a whole node captured on the phone. So it's blockchain enabled. and it basically means you can run a whole node off your phone, right? Which is pretty cool. So that's a new product.
Do some more research on figuring out what that actually means.
When we've got more time.
Yeah, for me it means awesome.
And another big player coming into the space, PwC in Luxembourg, to start accepting Bitcoin from October 2019. So that's pretty amazing when they're the world's second largest professional services firm.
Yeah, that's right. The world's second largest professional services firm now accepting Bitcoin from October 1. And as they say there, it shows the firm's commitment to comply with the needs of clients as well as support the growing national crypto ecosystem.
Yep.
When PwC step in, guys, wow, that's bigger than
So it says here the firm acknowledges the challenges of this move and has carefully reviewed its internal policies and procedures to meet the standards required by the crypto industry and closely collaborated with local regulated exchange to provide the best payment experience. So, when a firm like this of this size, who are very risk adverse, I might add, right? These big four firms are very risk adverse. For them to be making this step, they've done their due diligence and they've done their research. So,
all right,
pretty amazing stuff.
It is.
All right.
Okay, my friend.
I shall.
That is going to have to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. So while Stacey looks over there to his right, maybe?
Yeah, it was to my right, to my other screen, so I can press the right buttons.
We would just like to thank you for joining us today in episode 57. Can you believe we're at 57? We are almost at one of our ages. But which one? And I won't point.
We may have beaten one too.
Yeah, we've definitely beaten one of our ages. And we're just about to catch the next one. So thank you for joining us. And as always, join us over there on Patreon, where if you become a silver or gold subscriber, you do get one of these little blue links. Look, now you see, you don't.
That trick will never get old for you, will it?
No, it doesn't. It's like laugh at this. Ha ha ha! Laugh at that. It's twice as funny. Have a great day, folks. We shall see you same time tomorrow. Have a good day.
Have a great old day, folks. Have a crazy day. See you, mate.